everybody, I'm Mary Beth. You ready for some sugar and spice? I am in my kitchen today and I am going to make tiramisu. This was a special request from one of the caregivers where my mother is, and I thought, hey, how great, I can do something fun for these people. And I thought while I was doing it, I would take you along on the journey. So let me catch you up. To make a tiramisu, you have to have a couple of items that you might not have. One is a double boiler. So instead of using a double boiler to cook my eggs, I made my own double boiler today. I had I don't know if you can see that, I had a saucepan with just an inch or two of water, and on top of it, on the stove, after the water was boiling, I turned it down to like medium-low, and I put my big bowl on top of it, okay? To the big bowl, I added eggs, only the yolks. I separated them all out. I'm making like a triple order of this today, so I had a lot of eggs. And you can see I have all these eggshells here. And I'll tell you in a minute what I'm gonna do with those eggshells. It's not gonna go in the tiramisu, but I'll tell you. So I put the egg yolks in, and I kind of gave them a little whisk, and then I added sugar. And I cooked this over the stove, over like medium-low heat for about 10 minutes. When I first started out, it was bright yellow. And now it's a soft, creamy yellow, and I can see that the sugar is melted down, and that's what I want. And speaking of sugar, I want you to see I used the fine granulated sugar. It's easier to dissolve, so that's a good thing to get if you're gonna make tiramisu. Okay, so here I am. I've kind of cooled this off just a little bit. This is nothing more than egg yolks and the sugar. And to it, I'm gonna add mascarpone cheese. And mascarpone cheese is not Italian cream cheese, but that's the closest, easiest way to describe it. It's used in both savory and sweet dishes. I make a pasta that actually my kids long ago had named Mr. New Macaroni that used mascarpone cheese. But today I am using it to make this tiramisu. So I am adding the mascarpone cheese to the egg yolks and sugar that have been slightly cooled, and I did that just by bringing it over here to the counter and to continue to use my whisk and kind of mix it around. So, like I said, I'm making a triple, like a whole lot of this stuff. I guess I won't use this whole thing. Let's see. Let's keep just a little bit back. Okay? So, I'm going to mix the mascarpone into the egg yolk mixture. I want to get this nice and smooth so it looks like it's just one consistency. You don't want to have lumps, okay? And because the egg yolks mixture is kind of warm, it melts in there really easy. Just make sure you go around the sides, and that's good. Now, because it's such a big thing, I'm getting my industrial size bowl. I had a neighbor when we lived in Wichita who gave me this thing. She knew I liked to cook, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is like the most monstrous bowl ever. But guess what? There are times when a really big bowl like this helps, and today is one of those days. So I just transferred my mixture from that bowl to this bowl. Okay, so here we're gonna go. Now to this, I am going to add whipped cream. It's just heavy cream that is whipped. I did not add vanilla or powdered sugar or whatever you would add to make whipped cream as normal. It is just heavy cream that is whipped. Okay, let me see. Well, let's go back with this one. So I'm going to want to gently fold in the whipped cream to this mixture of eggs and sugar and mascarpone cheese. Because I whipped this, and I took my time, I used my stand mixer, and it probably took me 10 or 12 minutes to do this. And remember, I had a triple recipe, so I had like 6 cups of heavy cream that I used to make this. So it took me a little bit of time, but I started on low, and every couple of minutes I just notched it up a little bit. And what I hope that's gonna do is to give me a whipped cream that's not gonna separate and break down. You know how sometimes whipped cream can get kind of watery after it's sat a day or so? So because my tiramisu needs to be able to sit at least overnight, I'm gonna deliver it to the team tomorrow. And I guess we'll have it, you know, maybe at lunchtime tomorrow. I need the whipped cream to not break. So that's how I did it, and I hope it's gonna work. So I'm just folding over. Let's get something bigger. And I'm just trying to get this so that I'm gonna have a nice, let's call it a pudding. It's not really a pudding, but for lack of better words, let's call it a pudding, so that we can spread this on. I really don't want to see the white separated from the yellow. I want it to have one nice yellow consistency when I'm done. So while I'm mixing this, let's talk. Back up to the eggs. I said I was going to get back to the eggshells. So you know I spend part of my time out in the country, and I have a neighbor. Her name is Tori, and she has chickens. And some of the eggs that I used today actually came from Tori's chickens. And Tori just got a ton of babies. I think she got 40 new chicks this spring. And boy, oh boy, she is gonna be in the egg business. So all of you that are in Frisco who are gonna wanna have fresh eggs comes later in the spring and the summertime, call me, text me. I will bring you fresh eggs from the country. I'm not sure what she will charge for a dozen eggs, but boy, the difference between like real fresh eggs and fresh eggs from the grocery store, you have no idea. But the funny thing about it is sometimes the chickens lay eggs whose shells are like really, really thin. And Emma had a hard time. She was making eggs for a while with Tori's eggs, and like, oh no, here, I just broke the egg too soon, or it kind of shattered the shell a little bit. So I am saving my eggshells, because what I do is I take the eggshells, I put them out on a baking sheet and a real low temperature, I don't know, like 200, I don't think it's anything much more than that. And I let them sit in there for 10 minutes or something. What I'm looking to do is I'm looking to like totally dry out the shells, and then I put them in a Ziploc bag, and then Tori takes the shells and feeds them back to the chickens. And what that does is it helps to make their shells a little bit stronger, a little bit thicker. So because I used 2 dozen eggs today, I figured it was well worth saving those shells and sending them back to the chickens to use down the road. Okay, so my custard is all kind of incorporated here, okay? And I hope this is gonna be thick enough. And listen, we're just gonna have to see how it goes. So I am going to have Emma come in just a minute, and we are going to assemble, okay? But in the meantime, let me kind of push back some of this stuff. You know about the eggs, you know about the fine granulated sugar. This I need to make the top pretty later. And what I'm using is, I'm using a 13 by 9 pan. The recipe I'm gonna give you is just for a 9 by 9. So I'm doing like a recipe and a half in this, and I'm making 2 of them. So that's why I'm gonna have Emma come help me assemble. And what she has done is 13 by 9 pan, taken the lady fingers. This is the way I found them. I think I got them at Market Street, but it's like a hard biscuit. It's not those soft cake ones that my grandmother used to make strawberry shortcake out of. These are, watch, they're crisp, okay? So what Emma did was she took the cookies, and we have a bowl here of espresso. You want strong coffee. For me, I have a jar of powdered espresso, like instant, and I mixed it with hot water, and we have a bowl here. You could take and add Kahlua to your coffee if you wanted, but because of the audience that I'm gonna be serving this to, I figured it's best not to add any alcohol to it. So this is just straight up instant espresso, and she just quickly dipped the biscuit, the cookie, into the coffee and then arrange them so it fills up the whole bottom of the pan. Now before we add any more cookies, I need to ladle on the cream, okay? So I'm just gonna take what should be about half of the recipe, right? Because I would really only be making like one small version of this. You want to totally just coat the top of, you probably can't see. Yep, I'm not showing very well there. What you want to do is you want to coat the top of this. So I need a little bit more of the cream here, okay? So let's do this, and then I'm gonna have Emma jump in and she can start with cookies again, okay? I'm just kind of smoothing this out. This will be a double layered thing. So you'll have 2 layers of cookies and 2 layers of the cream, okay? So there, that's ready for Emma to get started on. And I'm gonna put the cream on these other ones and get started on doing cookies on this one in just a sec. So, like I said, I am taking this to my mom's place. My mom lives here in town in an assisted living facility, and the ladies love to watch my sugar and spice videos. So we were talking one day and talking about videos, and somehow I heard that somebody liked tiramisu. And somebody else said, oh, tiramisu, how wonderful. And I said, well, that's good. Let me do a cooking video on tiramisu. And then I'll bring you all the tiramisu. So that's what we're doing here. So this is made for love, with love, excuse me, for my mom's caregivers. And I'm ever so grateful to be able to do something kind for them. These people are remarkable, and I am so grateful for all that they do for my mother and for myself. It's really, really wonderful. Okay, let's get hopping here. So, sorry for the crunching of this noise, but it's all good. Here, let me, gosh, that's a big bowl. That is such a heavy bowl. Marty Engel, if you're out there, thank you for that bowl that you gave me years ago. I don't know where you found it, but I sure thank you for that. So here, Emma and I are going to town. When you do this, you don't want to leave it in the coffee very long, okay? It's just a quick plop in there, because what happens if you like load them all up in there is they get really soggy and too soggy. So the coffee flavor is definitely in this dessert, but you don't want it to like take over the dessert. This is messy. This is so messy.
We're running out of the espresso.
I think we'll make it. We'll make it work, whatever it is. Okay, so let's talk about real estate advice for just a second. It's a hot seller's market right now. And I want you to know, if you have any kind of question, it doesn't mean that you want to sell your house. I'm just saying any real estate question. It is super important that you call somebody like me to help you figure out what's the correct answer to your question. It's important, especially in a seller's market like now, that you really know what you're getting into if you're thinking about selling your house at a time like this. So for all those real estate questions, call your favorite realtor. If you don't have one, call me. I'll be your favorite realtor. You can always call mb.com, right? So here we're almost finished with the coffee and the dipping. Hopefully we will not run out of either before we are done. And I'm so grateful to have Emma's help, because we are trying to hurry. Tonight, my neighborhood, our neighborhood, is having a food truck come. And I want to go socially distant, but I want to go get some dinner and say hi to some of the neighbors that might be there. And that'll be fun. I love those kind of events. So I am grateful to Emma for the help. Here, you want to switch plates with me here? And I'll I'll load that up with cream and you can, well, how about we just change places? How about that? That'll be easier. Emma, my almost college graduate, was able to help me today with this. And like I said, because I was purring, I was really grateful. If you hear scratching, it's only our dog, Sweet Tea. She wanted to go outside and now she wants to come in. And our hands are both dirty and busy. So, oh, you're done. Okay, Emma, wash your hands and get the dog if you will. So, this is almost finished. You see how quickly this comes together. And this will really chill well overnight. And it will be ready. And then what you do when you serve this is you just kind of cut it into squares. So let's say this is the final touch. The final touch after you have enough cream on the top is, I think that looks nice and full, is you take a fine sieve like this, woo, 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 and sprinkle over the top. It's kind of a hot mess. I'm making a big mess, that's for sure. But you get the idea. So I'm glad that I spent some time with you. I hope that, and I'm so glad I got to have Emma help me. I hope that this recipe inspires you to get into the kitchen with those that you love. And you know that I'm here for you. For some sugar and spice and real estate advice, you can always call MB. I hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day. And Mom and your caregivers, I hope you love this tiramisu. Take care, y'all.